The clip began with nothing but quiet. That's what unsettled me first. Not the dim frame, not the shaky lens, not even the strained wheeze of my boy's breathing, tight, uneven, the way it always got when fear squeezed his lungs. It was the hush before the blow. Then came a dull smack, followed by a small, stifled cry. A second hit warped the audio. And then his voice. Too steady. Too collected. "Your father's locked up," my ex-wife's new man said. "He can't get to you." My son whimpered something, soft, broken, impossible to decode. An apology, probably. He apologized when he was terrified. The camera swung, revealing the man's face. Grinning. Proud of himself. I didn't inhale. Didn't blink. Didn't let the fury move a single muscle in me. Anger is a luxury for men who aren't trained to survive it. I watched all 90 seconds like a stone. Then my phone buzzed. "You raised a coward. I'm correcting your mistakes." Something in me shifted, not snapped, not shattered, shifted. A quiet tilt, controlled, precise. A man with 12 years spent undercover inside federal shadows doesn't break. He adjusts. I stood up from the steel bench in my cell, tapped the door once, and spoke the trigger phrase that resets entire systems. Initiate Protocol 0. 2 days later, I walked out. Not as a convict. Not as a father. As something far colder. When she left me, she told the whole world I'd spiraled. Unstable. Unfit. Dangerous. She never mentioned the truth. That my prison time was a federal disguise I stepped into willingly after she said she needed distance. I gave her space. I gave her honesty. She gave herself to someone else. I should have connected the dots earlier. The late-night whispers in the closet, her sudden obsession with privacy, the way she looked at me like I was an intruder in my own home. But I was buried too deep in the operation, too loyal, too blinded by trust. Trust is the easiest weapon to use against a man. Her silence was the first cut. The divorce was the second. Losing custody was the third. But the real wound, the one carved into marrow, came through the shaky video of my disabled son apologizing to a stranger towering over him. I rewound every odd moment, her protectiveness turning into secrecy, her husband's perfect smile masking something rotten, the way his grip on my boy's shoulder lasted a second too long. The flinch my son tried to hide. I had brushed it off. Undercover work makes you chase monsters in empty rooms. I thought he was another ghost. He wasn't. Before I moved, I needed truth, not instinct, not fury. Evidence. Emotion distorts. Facts slice clean. So, I disappeared into the background and started digging. Hospital records first. Pulled through an anonymous midnight request. Most people ignore a small ER visit.
Not me.
Bruised ribs. He fell. Sprained wrist. Another fall. The notes had the tone of a doctor who sees the truth but has learned not to confront it. Then school logs, withdrawn behavior, stuttering, avoiding touch, classic signs no one cared to connect. Except me. I traced the stepfather's location data. Matched his movements to every injury. Perfect match. Too perfect. After that, I went deeper, deleted messages, encrypted chats, files resurrected by tools the public doesn't even know exist. What surfaced was worse than I expected. He had rage buried under charm, debts buried under lies, and a sealed assault case buried under a fake identity. She didn't climb to a better life. She slid into a pit and dragged my son with her. I accessed the home's old cloud backup, the one she never bothered to remove my name from. Videos of my son limping, shrinking, waiting for help that never came. I didn't confront either of them. Confrontation warns predators. Instead, I built a dossier, thick, clean, merciless. Then I requested a silent federal background sweep. No sirens, no paperwork trail, just cold investigation. They uncovered everything. Fraud, abuse, identity manipulation. Men like him always run from something. By the time the file was complete, I felt nothing. Not heat, not sorrow, just direction. Purpose is colder than revenge. At 2:14 p.m., I approached her in the school parking lot. She stepped out of her car, froze, and her face drained of color. "How are you?" I handed her the folder. Her hands trembled as she turned the pages. No, no, he said he told me.
She broke.
Quick and quiet, the way guilty people do when truth hits too hard to fight. When she reached the screenshots of the chats, the medical notes, the confession transcript he didn't know I captured, she looked up at me with wet eyes. I didn't know, she whispered. I didn't give her comfort. I gave her the only sentence she earned. You let him near my son. She collapsed, knees buckling. I walked away before she hit the ground. At 3 a.m., I knocked lightly on the man's door. He opened it with a smirk. Well, well. Broke parole already. I stepped inside. He didn't stop me. Bullies never expect consequences. I leaned close and murmured, No, I'm sending you somewhere worse. Confusion. Then realization. Then fear, the kind that drains a man's soul. What the hell are you talking about? I placed a single sheet on the table. A federal warrant. Not pending. Completed. His lips went white. You can't do that. I already did. His phone vibrated. Before he could reach it, the front door exploded inward. Federal agents stormed through, shouting commands. He shrieked that he was innocent, begged, tried to blame everyone. I watched with my hands in my pockets. As they dragged him past me, he hissed, You destroyed my life. I met his eyes.
No.
You did that yourself. By sunrise, he was locked inside a federal psychiatric unit reserved for violent offenders who can't hide anymore. My ex called constantly. I let the phone ring. Her regret was hers to hold. My son slept safely at my sister's home. I watched him breathe from the doorway, not with emotion, with calculation, measuring what I needed to become for him now. Not an agent, not a soldier, a barrier, quiet,
Permanent.
People think closure is an ending. It isn't. It's an upgrade, a new system built from scars. When I stepped outside into the morning, the air felt clean for the first time in years. Not victory. Not relief.
Clarity.
And clarity is power. I locked the door, looked at the sunrise, and spoke the only truth left. It's done. A long silence followed. And I will never break again.